What sense of déjà vu surprised you? Yes. It happened once when I was walking into a room for a work meeting years ago. It was so intense it almost took my breath away. And it lasted for a solid 10-20 seconds, which is a long time for déjà vu. It was so strong that I was able to predict exactly what was going to happen, and what everyone was going to say before they said it. I feel like it was precognition almost. I've had déjà vu since, but never to that extent. I was sitting in a coffee shop when I glanced up and felt a wave of déjà vu. A woman walked in, ordered her drink, and everything, her movements, the lighting, even the chime of the door felt oddly familiar. I had never seen her or been in this place before, but it felt like I was watching a memory unfold. The scene was so precise. It left me wondering if I had somehow lived this exact moment before, and it stayed with me the entire day, unsettling and impossible to explain. I was at a random beach and suddenly felt like I'd been there before, even though it was my first time. I remembered a dream I had years ago about the same spot. It was so weird, like my brain was playing tricks on me. It made me wonder if dreams are just memories from another life or something. Years ago, before I had gotten married, I had a dream of walking through some woods in autumn and two kids were running ahead of me, skipping around and playing with leaves and sticks. Just last year, my two kids recreated the scene exactly. It gave me a deep sense of happiness, but also weirded me out. I was single at the time it happened and couldn't imagine myself getting married at that age. Was writing some documentation for an idea, and halfway through the writing, I suddenly had this vision, the kind where it would come to mind, but immediately disappear, that it felt familiar or I did it before, so I went to dig out my NAS and managed to find a documentation for a similar concept stored in a file with a similar title. The contents were 100 the same, down to the formatting, needless to say. This means that either one. I completely brain farted, sidetracked, and forgot the idea somehow too. I was stupid and had like 6 ideas in the backlog at the same time. The latter seems highly plausible. Didn't help that I was feeling a massive hit of imposter syndrome, so that hurt my soul. I get double déjà vu, where I get the feeling that I've had this experience before and the feeling that I've had déjà vu about the experience before. That creepy feeling when you say something and then immediately remember you've said the exact same thing before. When your ex suddenly has a new significant other as you're going through their Instagram account. Had déjà vu once while making toast. Pretty sure in a past life, I was also really bad at timing the toaster. I was at work, dealing with a task that definitely wasn't in my job description, trying to impress my bosses by getting it done. Running through downtown, frantically searching for a Kinko's, I knew I was way in over my head. The pressure was on. I had to deliver these documents and meet a client on time. I burst into the store, feeling panicked, when the guy at the counter looked at me and said, "Relax, you made it here. You're already halfway through it," in the most calming voice. His words hit me like a reset button. I took a deep breath, smiled, and said, "You're right." In that moment, I was hit with a wave of déjà vu place, the exchange, the same sense of clarity. I knew then I could pull it off. And I did. I made it back in time and nailed the task. I just moved into a new app, and the other night in the kitchen I got a strong feeling of déjà vu. It felt like I was here before in person or in a dream. Made me feel good, like I was where I'm supposed to be. This is going to sound weird, but fuck it, I'm in my 40s now and don't have the same level of shame I had previously. My sense of déjà vu that surprised me is that I have random dreams come true. Not like win the lottery dreams, but I will have dreams about sitting at work and having conversations with coworkers. Then a few days or weeks, or shit, sometimes months go by and I have long forgotten the dream. And I will be sitting in the office and all of a sudden I will feel an ick. Like a weird I have done this already feeling. Then I realize I already dreamed about this, and usually in the dream it leads to conflict. So I as a grown-ass adult start shaking my head around to change my view, since I did not do that in the dream, and the feeling goes away, and the repeating stops. However, lately I have been having these dreams and I shake my head in them. It's weird. I had an entire class rapia when I was a young teenager. It only wasn't the same because I told my teacher and friend about it. It was down to the teacher stumbling over speech in same place, worksheet, who got sent out, the mess of the first class having a reliever and the person having to go to a different class. It's still FS with me to this day. When I said I'll just watch one episode, and somehow I'd already lived that lie before. Watching TikTok complications things on YouTube a week before moving out of my old place, and suddenly got flashbacks to 2020 I didn't know existed. How about vu déjà? This shit has never happened. Whenever I smoke weed, Everything becomes a weird déjà vu. It's like him remembering the present instead of living it. It's a weird, but oddly pleasant feeling that make me not scared because it's already happened and I'm still here. Feel once while high and it didn't even feel painful though I broke my glasses, but it was a memory not an experience. The feeling of déjà vu is like a recurring punchline in this simulation called life. I have had many déjà vus, but never once have I been able to tell what the other person or what's going to happen next. But it's always familiar and always at a point where I knew this is what's going to happen, but never prior. I remember walking through a disheveled old building with some newly acquired friends, and we were all very on edge to begin with when suddenly I saw a black cat. Weirdest thing is a moment later I saw the same black cat, but its movements, its actions, it was all too real. It was at that moment when one of my friends informed me that sometimes déjà vu is actually just a glitch in the matrix.